So my talk this morning is Be the Light. Be the Light. There's a great song by Aretha Franklin, and she's saying, walk in the light, it's a beautiful light. Walk where the dewdrops of mercy shine bright. And that's what we want to do. We want to walk in the light, not just walk in the light, we want to become the light. There's an old proverb you've heard probably many times. It's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And it's one of those simple sayings that really resonates deep with us, because in every life, there's going to be a season, there's going to be darkness, there's going to be challenges that come away. And in those moments, we have a choice. We can either curse the darkness, we can complain to our friends and family till they're sick of hearing about it, or we can stay stuck in fear. Or we can remember who we are and what we've come to do. We are here to be the light. And we can trust that even when things don't appear to be working out, they're working out for our good. Good is on its way, even in the darkest of times. Earlier this week, last week actually, I had a brilliant idea. I was going to send a request to get 2 free tickets from the Savannah Bananas. Now, if you don't know who the Savannah Bananas are, they are a little minor league team in Savannah, Georgia, and they have revolutionized the game of baseball. They're bringing joy, fun, and silliness to the game. And they've become so popular, they're a national sensation. You cannot buy tickets for them at all. What you can do is you can get your name on a lottery, and if you win the lottery, you can buy tickets for them. So I was thinking, I sometimes do, that I should write them and tell them what great things we're doing down here, and see if I could get 2 free tickets from them that we could raffle off for the Judy James Magic Fund. 2 tickets would have put us over the top easily. So I filled out their form, and I did a banged up job. I really did. I talked about how we give scholarships for kids with disabilities, how we provide computers for families leaving the Betty Griffith shelters, how we get them Christmas gifts, and then on Christmas times we go out singing at the Christmas carols at the nursing homes, and all the other stuff we do. And I sent it off, and as a last little bit of sweetness, I added, you don't even have to waste a stamp to send me the tickets. Just let me know, I'll come to Savannah and get the tickets for you. Do what I can. Well, they tell you on the form that if you don't hear back in a couple of days, that it's a no-go. So by the end of the week, I had not heard back from them, so no Savannah Bananas for us. Now that's a small disappointment, but it got me to thinking, how often do we send a request or a prayer or a wish into the universe and we don't get the answer we hope for? And then we sink into discouragement or or we become stuck. And stuck is one of the most dangerous places we can get. Spiritually stuck. Because when we're stuck, we're not flowing. We've become fixated on a narrow outcome, and it's hard for Spirit to bring us something new into our lives. We've narrowed what we need down to a small alleyway, but God has the whole cosmos to get you what you're desiring. Dr. Seuss, he called it the waiting place. You're just waiting around for something to show up. So we want to open ourselves up to the goodness that life has to offer, and not just open ourselves up to it, look for it, acknowledge it, and bless it. I always say, if you don't have a fish in the boat, throw every hook you have in the water. And that's what the story about Jesus and the disciples fishing, that's what that meant. Jesus came upon his disciples. They were fishing in a boat. They were hauling up the nets. There was nothing in the nets. He told them, throw it on the other side. And when they threw the nets on the other side, they had so many fish they could barely bring them into the boat. Sometimes it's just a change of ideas, a change of consciousness. Taking your mind off what your needs are and thinking, how can I be a blessing to someone else? Because this is the paradox of affirmative prayer. Sometimes the moment we let go of what we think we need, the miracle shows up. My mother would say, and I'm sure you've heard this, a watched pot never boils. We have to let go of our attention, move our attention, and trust the right answer is already making its way to us. The key is to shift from what do I need to how can I be a channel for God's blessing right where I am. You're needed, you're necessary, you're vital to the unfoldment of all creation, and you have mighty and wondrous work to do. Christ never performed miracles for himself. He was always healing others. His power came from love extended outward. There's a wonderful philosopher, Emanuel Swedenborg, and he said that heaven is where we place our consciousness on doing good works for others. That's when we will be in heaven. So we want to have a balance. We're required to have a balance. We don't want to live as martyrs. We don't want to live as saints. Saints are very difficult to live with, by the way. We want to enjoy our lives as much as we can, doing our spiritual work, trusting Spirit, and using what we have right in front of us to help as many as we can. And sometimes it's just little scraps of goodness can make a whole difference in the world. Sometimes just a little bit of attention can lift someone up. I saw a documentary this past week on Netflix, and it's about inmates in a prison. And these guys are in for some serious crimes. This isn't just jaywalking. These guys have done some serious stuff. And they're in this prison, and they've all signed up for a program where they sew together scraps of cloth that have been donated to them. And they make quilts for children with autism and people battling cancer and for other people going through hard times. And these people have done terrible things, sewing together just scraps of cloth donated. And they said it's when they get letters back from the moms with autistic kids telling them how calming the quilts are for their kids. Or when they hear back from someone who's going through cancer and they say they bring the quilt with them to go to get the infusion for cancer treatments. They say that light, knowing that they've been able to make someone's life better, is the light they need to get through the hellish reality of their prison life. Doing good. The path we walk isn't about pretending there's no dark out there. It's about remembering that darkness has no power over on its own. It has only the power we give it. It feeds off of fear. And fear is one of the strongest emotions we have. Scripture says, "Lo, the thing I feared the most is now upon me." There's a fascinating scriptural textbook. It's the Tibetan book of the dead and living. And I find it really fascinating because when you're in Tibet, when you die, the priest comes to you and he starts reading this textbook to you. And it's basically a manual of how to get through the afterlife. And he will come and read to your body for 40 days because that's how it takes to get through the afterlife. And at one point he will say, you may encounter wrathful demons. He says, but those demons aren't real. They're projections. They're your own fears inflated and distorted. They have no power. The only power they have is what you give them. They're like the inflatable Halloween decorations you get from Walmart. Plug them in and they blow up into these big, huge, monstrous somethings. But unplug them, they're just hot air and illusion. When the dawn breaks over the shore, the shadows have no argument. They flee back into the nothingness from which they came. They vanish. They were never real. They were projections, our fears cast into the blank screen of our lives. We don't have to fight the darkness. We have to shine. We have to shine. We have to become the light. This past week, I was talking with a cousin of mine, and she's carried for a heavy burden for quite some time. She's tending to her elderly mother. And I've known her mother all my life, and trust me, her mother was no picnic when she was well. And now that she's not feeling so good, she's about as ornery as a snapping turtle in the middle of an asphalt highway. And my sweet cousin has allowed all the joy to drain from her life. Fun seems out of reach. So as I was talking to her, I remembered that she loved baseball. And so I started telling her about the Savannah Bananas and how they had allowed joy and silliness and creativity to turn a forgotten team into a national sensation. And suddenly it clicked for her in a way I would have never been able to convince her of it. And here's the thing. She would not have had that light bulb moment if I hadn't had my own disappointment. That no I got became a breakthrough for someone else. Now, it would have been nice if I could have gotten the tickets and encouraged my cousin. But Spirit has its own timing, and we have to trust in it. Maybe the darkness isn't something we have to fight. It's just something that disappears when we remember how powerful we are. That we don't have to look far for the light. We are that light. A historical photo that when I see it, it always gives me chills, actually. It's one of the most powerful photos I think there is in history. It's a photo of a Jewish menorah set in the window of Nazi Germany. And across the street, you can see the Nazi banner. I don't know who that family was that lit that menorah, but they refused to let fear and hate keep them from shining. They were determined to be beacons of hope and freedom in the darkest of times. They were not going to be held back. Christ said, "You're the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden." Dr. King, the night before he was assassinated, he said, "I just want to do God's will. I've seen the promised land. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. My eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord." Surely we're going through some challenging times of our own. But as a people, we've come through them in the past, and we're going to come through these times, and we're going to be better for them. And it's by our keeping a vision of a brighter day, by our remembering and summoning the courage of ourselves to stop hiding, to stop doubting, to allow the light of God's possibilities to shine bright in our hearts and soul, to make a joyful noise, not for just ourselves, but for each other, to lift one another up, to inspire, to encourage, to raise the vibration, because the dawn is coming, and when it does, When it does, we will all be there together, and we will join that celestial chorus that will sing together, Emmanuel, Emmanuel, God with us. And this is what we're going to. We're headed in the right direction. Spirit is with us every step of the way. You are beloved. Spirit has faith in you, and you are doing marvelous. This is the truth in your life this morning. It's the truth in mine, and so it is.